excited to be here with everyone.
It's so good to be here, vaccinated, all among friends.
Yeah.
I know.
How beautiful does that
Happy.
feel?
It's a beautiful thing.
You know, those hugs, those first hugs are just phenomenal.
Oh my God, my boobs got hard just by thinking about hugging somebody.
Ew. Is it going to be that kind of show?
It is going to be that kind of a show.
All right.
Wait till you see it's happening out
Fasten your
later.
seatbelt.
Yeah. Tonight it's happening out. Jeez.
Ah,
Can I say Jesus here at Sunshine Cathedral?
of course.
Sure.
And with
We
me
love
and
Jesus.
Dale.
But in the way I'm using Jesus. Right.
He wouldn't mind.
No, he wouldn't.
He would be here with
Loving and
Yeah.
forgiving.
All right, let's do this.
Have a good show.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, May 12th, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. The world's first live daily queer evening news show. Out of the closet and into the headlines on Q News Tonight.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and We Meg Events. Hotspots is celebrating 35 years of the LGBTQ experience, and We Meg is bringing you Wilton Manor's Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival on June 19th. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBT news, entertainment, and support for our LGBTQ+ community.
Well, this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome anchor Faye What? She's out, she's proud, and of course, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, she's most certainly loud.
Only a little loud.
She is a radio and television personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming at uniting the L and the G together. She's a hostess and an MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate and owner of Faye's Fur Family, and is the anchor of the new travel news show, happeningout.travel. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening. Hola, mi gente. Happy to be here. Yes. And now it is my privilege to welcome Dale Stein. He received a master's in opera from the world-famous Juilliard School. Let me pick that up, all right? Later became a photographer where his images have been featured on many magazine covers, featured spreads, CD, record covers, websites. He's been everywhere. He is currently the director of the music ministry at my favorite church in the world, aside from Sunshine Cathedral, Unity on the Bay, and moderator of the popular Facebook group, Miami Gay List. Let's welcome and good evening to Dale Stein.
Thank you so much, Faye, and it's fantastic to be here. Now let's welcome one of my longtime friends and one of my favorite people on the planet, Cindy Brown. Her nearly 30-year history in South Florida includes being an original organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk, White Party for Care Resource, United Foundation for AIDS, Miami Light Project, and also served as executive director of the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce Foundation and LGBTQ Visitor Center. Founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride, and more currently, she is with Jewish Community Services running the Lambda Living Program for LGBTQ+ seniors. Good evening, Cindy.
Good evening, and I couldn't ask for a better introduction. Thank you, Dale. You're one of my favorite people, too.
Oh, yay.
Now let's welcome Ruben Sanchez. He's owner-broker of Domi Real Estate Advisors and currently serves as a board of governors for the Miami Association of Realtors, director for Florida Realtors, as well as the vice president of the Miami chapter of the LGBTQ+ Real Estate Alliance. He also co-chairs the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce Young Professional Network. Good evening, Ruben.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me tonight. We are reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of Queer News for today, Wednesday, May 12th.
Let's begin by queering up politics. Well, apparently, no one likes Caitlyn Jenner, according to a bleak new poll. Caitlyn Jenner is the first trans person in history to run for governor, but she has managed to disappoint the right, the left, and LGBTQ people in her very short campaign. Almost no one supports her. According to a new poll by the University of California, Berkeley Institute of Government Studies, and the Los Angeles Times, the poll shockingly is low, showing 6% of Californian voters said that they would consider voting for Caitlyn Jenner against Governor Gavin Newsom in the state's upcoming recall election, according to the poll. Pollster Mark D. Camillo said, quote, "There doesn't seem to be any significant constituency for her candidacy. Even among Republicans, only 13% say they'd be inclined to vote for her. It's a very poor showing," end quote. There are currently 4 total challengers, and the poll allowed voters to support more than one challenger. So shockingly, that meant an overwhelming 94% of voters do not support her at all. Her campaign has already faced some bumps in the road. Her past support for Donald Trump, which she reiterated just last week, as well as her opposition to transgender rights and alienating comments about homeless people, haven't gotten her much support from the left. On the right, her past criticisms of Trump's attacks on transgender rights are certainly not helping her. Earlier today, CNN released interview footage where she said she didn't even vote for Trump in the last election because she was too busy golfing.
Who cares? Who cares
Cindy
about
says, "Who
Caitlyn
cares?"
Jenner?
Well, here's the thing. I almost, and I'm going to say almost, feel bad for the girl.
I
Okay?
guess.
Almost. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, she is part of the LGBTQ plus community. And many of us have chosen family because our families have shunned us or choose not to support us, right? She's got the wrong people around her. If it was
I
any of my
suppose.
chosen family, they'd be like, "Faye, shut up. You ain't
Right.
got it to be running for nothing. Stop
Right.
talking to reporters. Shut your mouth."
And I also think that her being a representative of the transgender community is way off. She doesn't support trans youth. She has come out in support of some of this legislation, and
In sports, about girls'
yeah,
sports.
and
Protecting girls' sports.
I
she said.
think
She's a
her.
mess.
I think her time, I think she's become irrelevant. Her time is done.
I think she's just trying to extend her 15 minutes.
Right.
Because I think it feels like she's just throwing pasta at the wall to see what sticks. I mean, why is she getting into the political fray anyway? I don't quite get it.
Well, and I said that when this news first broke, because I mean, come on, she was married. She was married to Kris Jenner, and Kris
Right.
Jenner is the marketing genius behind making a sex tape out of her daughter
Right.
into a mega billion-dollar company. So think about it. When she was Bruce Jenner, she must have learned something.
Right.
I frequently, lots refer to me as a gay guru in the community. I'm an uber cheerleader of the LGBTQ community. Caitlyn Jenner strains even my ability to find the best in our community. And when you said, needs some different people around her, you have to remember the people around her are billionaires.
Yes.
And they're Kardashians.
Yes.
And the combination of the two is a lethal combination for her running for governor of California.
Right.
Next, let's queer up the road to Stonewall. Uno launches Pride-themed deck and donates $50,000 to It Gets Better project. So Uno has partnered with It Gets Better project to launch Uno Play with Pride, a special edition of the classic card deck celebrating the LGBTQ plus community in honor of Pride Month. It Gets Better's brand marketing director, Ebony Munn, said, quote, Uno is a celebrated game with the ability to transcend age, culture, and language while bringing people together, something we aspire to do at the It Gets Better project. We are thrilled Mattel has chosen to partner with a nonprofit serving a diverse global community of LGBTQ plus youth for its first ever Play with Pride deck. And we look forward to continued inclusivity and representation that reflects the world we live in, end quote. Mattel, Uno's parent company, will donate $50,000 to the It Gets Better project as a part of the partnership. The Uno Play with Pride deck is available for $5.99 exclusively at Target today.
Excellent. I think that's excellent.
I love that. My game night friends are, we're going to have to go out and buy the cards.
Go
and,
to Target
and play
today.
gay Uno.
Right.
Sure.
I have to learn how to play Uno.
You don't know how to play
what?
Uno?
Fun game.
I know
Dale!
I'm big on duo
off,
and trio.
You're gay. No way.
That's the
Let's
third
just-
one
let's-
today.
Oh,
Leave it
yeah.
alone. Leave
All
it
right,
alone.
I have to stop there. You know, one thing that's interesting about this story is, and we're going to talk about this a lot over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, there's going to be lots of conversation about pandering in the LGBTQ community when we get into June. One of the things that I have to say that Mattel and Uno has done here that was super smart is they made this commitment, branding, representation, symbols matter. That's what they've done with this Uno deck. But they've also said, wait, a nonprofit organization that represents us so well, like It Gets Better, is so important, and we're going to give them $50,000.
Right.
So to our brothers, sisters, trans, non-binary members of our community, Mattel is not one of those organizations that we're going to wag our finger at saying that they're pandering to us, because they're stepping in to help.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love playing Uno, and I'm a mean Uno player. When it comes down to the last one, I'm like, bam, one!
Like
When-
the dominoes.
Yeah, Faye's words means she cheats.
Oh,
Whatever you want to call it. Go
Have
ahead,
you
Dale.
considered politics? Now, we queer up Road to Stonewall. Planned Parenthood reminds the LGBT community, be seen. Many in the LGBTQ plus community commonly express the need to be seen and heard. Social scientists have written extensively that traditionally oppressed minorities are in the mindset because of the need to overcome how they were treated, especially when they are young. So when Planned Parenthood introduced a new PSA that focused on the LGBTQ plus community, it got Queer News Tonight's attention. When the principal message was simple, we see you. We had to bring it to the attention of the LGBTQ community. Now watch this.
Look, you are here for a reason. What that is for you to decide. You know what you got planned. You know what you're capable of. You know what you've already overcome. You are just as deserving of love and compassion as everyone else. So if the world hasn't told you this, I will. I see you. I see who you are. I see who you can become. I'm here for you, okay? Call me back.
I don't think I could love this any more than I do.
I agree.
Planned Parenthood is a fantastic organization, and you know, a lot of lesbians use it for their primary health care.
Right.
And we need to support Planned Parenthood because
With this initiative.
they see us.
Yeah, they see
I
it.
think those are very powerful words to say. We see you as an organization, and it just opens up for other organizations to be able to also, you know, contribute and give back to our community.
And that the PSA is just done beautifully. I mean, filmed beautifully, edited beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, my mascara was
Doesn't
almost
pander
wet.
to us. You know, it doesn't pander.
No.
You
Yeah.
don't- You don't
It's
feel like,
real.
Yes.
Yeah, you really feel seen.
Very
I mean,
real.
it's really achieving the exact goal of the.
You know, and I love, you know, as women, it's very hard for us to feel seen sometimes, you know?
Exactly,
And
yeah.
so that whole PSA just was like, wow, I'm seen. It was beautiful, it really was.
And you know, one other thing that's interesting, when I first saw this story and production was deciding to include it in today's Queer News, I thought Planned Parenthood in a story at Queer News Tonight, it didn't naturally just go, oh, of course we would include that. Now that is an indication of what you just said. I don't even process, oh wait, lesbians use Planned Parenthood as a primary source of medical care. And that's my ignorance, not the problem of Planned Parenthood. And the other thing, Planned Parenthood has been hit on the chin over and over and over by radical Republicans over the last 5 years. And it's a reminder to, I think, all of us that we need to stand up for the organization because they do a lot of good for the LGBT.
Definitely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, Miss Cindy, you're up.
Yeah, so now let's queer up social media. Tumblr is trying to win back the queer audience it drove off. GLAAD reported this week that none of the major social media sites, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, were safe for the LGBTQ plus community. Because of bullying and harassment, the media watchdog group said that they were all failing in a mission to support and protect LGBTQ folks. So Tumblr tried to make a giant play for the LGBT community this week when the platform tweeted, quote, "Tumblr, queerest place on the internet." It was clear that they are trying to win back the queer audience it drove off. There were more than 2,000 replies in the first hours, with many users disagreeing. In 2018, Tumblr made a controversial decision to remove all not safe for work and explicit content from its platform. This decision ended up impacting a lot more than just porn bots and revenge porn peddlers. Though, as this policy change is responsible for purging LGBTQ users from the site. Queer News Tonight will continue to watch this developing story.
Tumblr, the queerest place on the internet. It's like when President Trump said he was the president that did the most for the LGBTQ community. Big old lie. That's basically what it is.
Nobody does more than
Nobody
me.
does more than me.
Well,
Come on, Tumblr.
That is an example of pandering that we were just talking about. You know, trying to take advantage of a situation that they really have no place doing. And, you know, hoping that they'll gain some brownie points from people who don't really know.
Dale, you run Miami Gay List, one of the largest LGBT groups here in South Florida. What do you think about where's the queerest place on the internet besides Miami Gay List?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for, of course.
Grindr.
You know, well, Tumblr was very well known in the community as a place for porn. I mean, yes, there was a lot of arts and stuff and different things, you know, but it became a real porn go-to. And then that shifted when all the things that were expressed earlier. And now that's become Twitter. In addition to politics, you can get all your porn on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter is where in terms of the major internet sites, that's where you go.
Yeah, and I don't see people scrambling to get back to Tumblr. I think if you had us
From Tumblr, was that a
you had us, you lost us. You know,
Yeah. So their post doesn't really excite you as the queerest place.
No, I don't see it making a big change. You know, I think the LGBTQ community can be very forgiving in many ways, but I think they can also be very unforgiving in many ways. So this feels like one of those moments. Maybe I'm wrong.
I have to bring attention to GLAAD's announcement this week. They were going to do a survey study report of all of the internet sites, and they were going to rank them in terms of the quality of what they've done for the LGBTQ community. And in the middle of the survey study, they stopped. And they said, wait, we can't do this because they've all failed. And they specifically have called out YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And Twitter as saying all 4 sites, major sites, are unsafe places for the LGBTQ community because of harassment. So when we do a story like this, we have to put an asterisk on it to say, well, we might be disappointed that the porn is gone, but still, you are at risk for harassment and bullying on internet sites that are pandering to the LGBTQ.
Yes, and Al, I don't mean to make light of it by going to the porn
right.
component of it.
Right.
Because yes, I agree that all the sites, as we have seen, are venues for bullying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
But I
leads
think
to
it's great though because it brings that awareness.
Yes,
The other,
exactly.
you know, we have all this exposure, but nobody's really giving in to be able to provide that information.
Exactly.
Okay, well, next, let's queer up trans rights. U.S. hits record for transgender killings. Puerto Rico is the epicenter of the violence. In 2020, there were 44 transgender murders in the United States, and it was the country's deadliest year on record. Nowhere has the crisis been more pronounced than in Puerto Rico, where 12 transgender victims, most of them women, were killed in a 2-year span. The violence comes amid a shifting national debate on transgender rights and moves by the territory to deal with its long history of brutality against women. Puerto Rico's transgender community and its allies blame the killings on a mix of religious fundamentalism, transphobia, indifference from authorities, and lingering economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as Hurricane Maria. San Juan's former mayor, Carmen Yulín Cruz Soto, said, quote, "The transgender community is the most discriminated within the LGBTQ plus community, and Puerto Rico is no exception," end quote. Transgender killings in the United States are on a rapid pace to exceed last year's record violence. So far, 20 murders through April 30th. President Joe Biden has taken steps to ensure federal protections for the transgender rights and reassures the LGBTQ community that he is on their side, including a direct call out during the joint session of Congress. This has been ongoing for years and years and years, and I think it's something that trends within the region. It's just become more prevalent in Puerto Rico, in my opinion, because of the attention, for example, that Bad Bunny, the rapper or the reggaetonero, has given. But I mean, you being Puerto Rican, I'm sure that you've heard about this.
Completely. And, you know, trans women are dying, and they're dying at such a crazy pace. And they put a state of emergency out, remember, a couple of months ago. That slowed nothing down. The governor did, and that slowed nothing down. You know, I am half Puerto Rican, and, you know, not all, but many Puerto Rican men are very macho, and they look at women as beneath them. Then you add the trans aspect to them, and they're invisible. It's like, it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be a trans woman.
Is that toxic masculinity attitude that you're referring to in Puerto Rico different than Latino attitude in South Florida?
No.
It's the same?
It's the same.
Really?
It really is. You know, and it's very sad. Like I said, you know, I mean, the pace of our brothers and sisters, our trans brothers and sisters dying at a rate that is just incredible. I really thought that with the state of emergency, something would give, something would slow down. But no, and it's getting worse and worse.
We have a show coming at the end of the month that is anchored by Tony Lima from Ariana Center, and he is in Puerto Rico as we speak. Ariana Center has taken on Puerto Rico because of the crisis in trans, and he is anchoring with 5 hosts, all trans hosts, a show called Translation. I was shocked in reading today on this story that 82% of all of the world's trans murders in 2020, 82% were done in Central America, the Caribbean, and South America. It is a Latin Latino.
Yeah, definitely. It's a region.
And, you know, people can legislate till they're blue in the face, but it's the people, you know. We need to get the message to the communities, people, to dispel these notions that they have and do some real one-on-one education, because you can have a bunch of laws. I mean, how long has racism supposedly, you know, just because there's a civil rights law doesn't mean that there's no racism. And you know, it's all about education and exposure.
I'm praying for my trans sisters in Puerto Rico for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So that is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has been LGBTQ America's most important news source on the pandemic, as we have reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6th of 2020.
Tonight, we report the devastating effect coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBT community in total cases and deaths.
But we also provide hope of a new light at the end of this long tunnel. As of tonight, more than 2,348,000 LGBTQ Americans have contracted COVID-19.
We have watched the greatest single-year LGBTQ plus health crisis of our lifetimes. More than 41,000 LGBTQ Americans have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving, because as of today, more than 263 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
That is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network is passionate about our support for the LGBTQ community.
An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine and supporting that partnership.
The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live.
We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
I'm Dean Trantalis, the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale. They say the gayest place on planet Earth, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
We'd also like to thank our set designer, Concepto Modern Living here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set and this amazing queer church square possible.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
Well, next up, Queer News Tonight is proud to support our local South Florida nonprofit organizations and charities, as well as their events. And tonight we are pleased to feature Floatarama.
So it was created as a charitable fundraising effort and to raise awareness to others within the LGBTQ boating community. The very first grassroots Floatarama event in 2020 was a great success, with the hope of building on that strong start to become a recognized summer event in our community.
In full partnership with Pride Fest Fort Lauderdale, proceeds will fund their GED scholarship programs and working with many LGBTQ+ individuals to earn their GED and help transgender students change their chosen name to their legal name, allowing their GED to reflect their new identity.
Joining us tonight is organizer Scott Schramm. He's a yacht broker and captain and will start off Floatarama with a captain's kickoff party at Hunter's on June 9th. A fun evening with a flotilla briefing, cocktails, music, and networking with other boaters. Whew.
On Saturday, June 12th, 40 boats will form the flotilla. And on Sunday, June 13th, they move to their Sailor's Tea Dance near the water's edge at the Sanctuary Church, featuring Matt Consola of Switchcraft Music, America's largest LGBTQAI+ record label.
It sounds so much fun.
It is.
To tell us more about Floatarama is organizer Scott Schramm. Welcome, Scott, to Queer News Tonight.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, Scott. So are you rich?
Hello.
Because most people with boats are rich.
Yeah, don't I
Are
win?
you and your friends rich?
Don't-
And do you have a lesbian woman that will take me in on her boat?
I'll find
They
something.
have
Okay,
to take me too.
you can both come.
Yeah, so
thanks
how
for having
fun
me.
is the Floatarama?
You know, Floatarama is just this great organization that kind of, you were talking a little bit about, that we started last year in the middle of the pandemic. And it was a couple of us, a friend of mine, Patrick Parker, and we were members of a group called Boys with Boats. And we were in the middle of the pandemic, everything was shut down. Pride was closed, everything. We couldn't do anything. Let's decorate our boats and take them out and see if we can have some fun. Well, we thought if we could get 4 boats, we'd be good, maybe 6. When I came around the corner and I say 20 boats all waiting to get in line, that's when I knew we had something. And I thought the really important part was we're all pulling around. Here comes 2 South Florida police water patrol boats with their blue lights flashing. We think, uh-oh,
no.
we're in trouble. They're here to shut us down. We're doing this thing on our own, right? They pull up, they both walk out, they put small rainbow flags on the back of their boats.
I got chills. I got
They
chills, Scott.
blocked off the ICW for us, and they provided escorts all the way into downtown.
I love to hear stuff like that.
That was the point when we just thought, this is a community effort. We're really seeing how big this thing could become.
Yeah.
And from that, it just started, the conversation started, and then I started meeting with Kevin Clevenger over at Pride Fort Lauderdale, and a lunch turned into a 4-hour meeting, and we were off and running.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Scott, of course, South Florida is no stranger to boating flotillas and events. The largest boat parade in the world is held here in December, Winterfest Boat Parade. So it's a natural to do this. But to add an LGBTQ twist to this event on Saturday, June 12th, it seems to me natural, because I can imagine how festive these 40-plus boats are going to be as they go down the Nude River and the Intercoastal. What can we expect, whether you participate or watch? What can we expect?
Well, I think, certainly if you're along the shorelines, we expect probably hundreds, if not thousands of people to be watching the boats. I think all the boats are going to be vying for competition, certainly, and who can decorate the most and have the loudest music and make but I really think it's a sense of community, of everybody coming together to sort of kick off Pride Month, too.
I want to zero right in. We are July 10th. When Flockfest comes, we're the presenting sponsors. We're going to broadcast live along with our partners, Hotspots Magazine. And I think it's interesting that I've got to come to the COVID and the pandemic issue. We have now 2 big summer anchors. And then once you add the Stonewall Pride Parade on Walton Drive on June 19th, we have 3 big events to look forward to in June and July. What do you think the response will be as we come out of pandemic to doing the event at Floatarama?
Well, I think we've had a couple of mixed comments coming out on how we're going to be dealing with COVID. Certainly our event is sort of the perfect transition event because people on their boats are generally within their own social groups and their own kind of group that they've been hanging out with and feel that they're safe to be with. So it's their own contained areas. And then that can be sort of expanded as we get a little more comfortable with being out as shots are coming out.
So Scott, can people be nude on their boat?
No.
Nobody was thinking that?
Their boat, yeah.
I wasn't thinking that. No, because
No, none of us were thinking.
It's always the
Only
girls,
you,
isn't it?
Faye.
Yeah.
I was wondering if, what kind of prizes you have for the best decorated or the worst decorated.
So actually West Marine is offering a large gift card, which is going to be great for any of the boaters, and that's going to go to Best in Show.
Perfect.
And we're going to be doing some judging as well, because we like to judge.
Of course.
We're
good
We're
at that, yeah.
We're really good at it.
Let's make sure we do the tag. Now, this is going to be an official partnership event with Pride Fort Lauderdale.
Correct.
Pride Fort Lauderdale is getting ready to do an announcement in the next coming days about what's going to happen for Pride. We're very excited about that. So this is kind of a soft tease for them in participating with Floatarama and keeping Pride Fort Lauderdale in everyone's attention. Tell us a little bit about how that developed with Pride Fort Lauderdale.
Well, that really happened that, Kevin Clevenger had just taken over in January as the executive director over at Pride. Kevin and I have been friends for a long time. And I kind of knew that this was starting to kind of percolate and become kind of a bigger event. So, we kind of set it up as, let's have lunch, let's talk about this a little bit. And the more we talked and the more we brainstormed, we both had our laptops open and we had pages of information by the time we were done. Awesome. And we really realized how quickly this thing was going to grow legs. He took it back to the board. The board said, yeah, let's do it. We've been talking about doing something like this for a long time. We don't really know how to get into that boating community. So I think it was meant to be.
Yeah. Scott, this is going to be way more than the boating community.
Sure
it is. It's going to be fun. And of course, let's take the opportunity of drop in on the nonprofit of how this benefits. It's helping to raise funds for GED. Pride Fort Lauderdale has been very aggressive and supportive of GED equivalency degrees, and also in helping Floatarama is going to help support the trans community in identifying their association of their chosen name for their GED. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Well, so I was so glad that the money was actually being earmarked into a specific fund like that. And when Kevin kind of explained this GED educational fund that's going out to trans people, and it's really open to anybody that doesn't have a high school education, but specifically to trans people. And then part of that money also goes to pay for the legal fees so that when this person graduates with their high school diploma, they graduate under their new chosen name, and the program pays for all that money. And it's really, when you think about how hard life has been for some of these kids, bullied in high school and everything else they've had to go through, or being thrown out of their homes, I think it's a great thing to sponsor and support. We've been selling, for instance, benefactor level tickets to the event. I expected to sell just a few of them. I had no idea we were going to get this kind of support out of the community.
Oh, you're literally
Yeah.
going to have a tidal wave.
Right.
It's
for this.
coming fast.
Gay tidal wave.
That's what we like to hear.
Scott, let's put the bullet points on what's going to happen again. First off, we encourage everybody, and we always do this at Happening Out Television Network, get vaccinated. Get
Yes.
your
Yes.
vaccine.
Yes.
Everyone here is vaccinated. It'll make the event. It's going to make your summer so much more enjoyable. When you say the words Floatarama, you naturally smile. You just smile. This is going to be so much fun. It has a good cause, good benefit, but at the top of the list, this is going to be so much fun. So let's do the bullet points. You're having the kickoff party on June 9th. Of course, Mark always steps up. Hunter's Nightclub is going to be the kickoff party, June 9th.
Yeah, and he's been great to work with. We're going to have all of our captains for a mandatory meeting with kind of all the necessary information, and as well as we'll be inviting all of our benefactors as well.
Do you wear like captain's hats and like
Well,
assless
I
caps or
might
something?
find
A friend
some.
of mine-
If you want to come, I'll find you captain.
With a boa.
I told a friend of mine today that we were interviewing you and talking to you in Floatarama, and they made the joke. Now this is going to be nothing like the Puerto Vallarta New Year's boat event. Right? It's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. And then after June 9th, look it up in case you don't know what I'm talking about. And
Went right
boys
over
get
my
it.
head.
Gay boys get it exactly. And then Saturday, June 12th, Floatarama. What time is it going to be?
So the parade kicks off at noon sharp, and we'll be starting right in front of the Performing Arts Center, which is right by the Broward Center.
New
and
River.
we'll be going down the river, and then we'll be turning left and going north up the ICW, and we'll be ending at Sunrise Bay.
Now, I want to ask, because you're a yacht broker and you're a captain, is turning left a nautical term? You could always,
All right, we'll go to port.
okay, we'll go to port, exactly. And then the next day, of course, equally fun, Sunday, June 13th, we're going to have a Water's Edge party at the Sanctuary Church, and that's going to complete our entire weekend.
You know, and if you haven't been to one of those parties there, and they've done other fundraisers at this location, it's a fantastic event space for us.
Yeah.
It's outside, it's a great safe environment. We're bringing in Matt Consola of Swishcraft Radio. Go look at his bio. He's a great guy and really, really easy to work with. And that's all part of the Eagle helping us with that as well, who's paying for that. For us.
The Eagle
Yeah,
on
he's-
Woodland Tribe is doing that.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
very
he's
nice.
the Eagle sponsoring his plane ticket and bringing him in, and he'll be also playing at the Eagle on Friday night with his latest show, and then he's coming to play for us on
That is
Sunday.
excellent. Well, Floatarama, June 9th, June 12th, June 13th. It makes us all smile here even saying the name. And the great thing about this, and Scott, we're so happy that you're here tonight, is it gives the LGBTQ community something to look forward to this summer. We've been sitting in pandemic for a year,
Right.
and we have a summer ahead that is going to be probably unlike any summer we've ever seen. And you're going to be among the first to kick it off, June 9th, June 12th, at Floatarama. Then the next week is Stonewall Pride, and then the next month is going to be Flockfest, and on and on and
The
on.
drag queens are busy.
Yes, it's
Getting their outfits
it's going to be
together.
a fun summer.
Yes.
I cannot wait. Floatarama, I'm smiling just even thinking about it. So, Scott Schramm with Floatarama, thank you for being with us tonight. at
Thanks
Queer
so
News
much.
Tonight.
I really
Thank you
appreciate
very much,
it.
Scott. So we won't be nude, we'll just be topless.
No.
All right. So that is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share this news with your friends and your family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you're a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television news in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Faye What, Dale Stein, Cindy Brown, and Ruben Sanchez, we will see you daily. And again, that means tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Good night.